Reporter Joshua Skinner joins us live at 5 near North Point Mall, where this all could happen. So, Joshua, what do we know so far?
Yeah, Alan, Tracy, we know Anson Carter, former NHL player, Boston, played in Edmonton for a while. Now, what we don't know, though, is exactly where on the North Point property this might be. The press release today from the ASE, the Alpharetta Sports and Entertainment Group, says they're trying to bring an NHL team to pretty much this location right here. Now, this is also the location of the North Point Mall. Part of that press release says that it would be built on the North Point Mall site. Now, the question is, would they have to bulldoze that mall or maybe move some of the mall or build near the mall? We don't really know. There's also a 90-acre plot on the other side of this mall where that could be. Now, what we do know, let's just pull this map up. We're going to show you exactly where this is in the metro. As you can see, it's not that far from the gathering at Forsyth, about 5.5 miles to the south, a bit closer to the city, not much though. You can also see where State Farm Arena is. Now, either way, you're looking at an arena on the northern end of the metro where people from both ownership groups, both in Forsyth and here in Alpharetta, say a bulk of the hockey fan base lies. Now, there is the possibility this could turn into a kind of a battle of sorts. This development, as we mentioned, in Alpharetta, but just Forsyth and Forsyth County also trying to get the team. We asked Fulton County Chairman Rob Pitts, where Alpharetta is located, about if this could become a battle between neighbors for an NHL team.
Fulton County is the largest county in the state of Georgia, one of the most important of the 3,000 plus counties in the United States of America. No disrespect for Forsyth County, but Fulton County is a place to be.
Now, we reached out to Anson Carter and the ASE group for comment, a further comment, more so about, where in the North Point area this would be. We have not heard back as of this time. Now, we also reached out to Forward Forsyth, who has been working to get the gathering up in Forsyth County, just about 5.5 miles to the north. And they said they had no comment about the Alpharetta news, but they did say it does prove that a hockey team should be coming to North Metro Atlanta. Reporting live outside North Point Mall, Joshua Skinner, Atlanta News First.